peoples, it's Landon here, and I thought I'd do a bit of a YouTube update here for you. It's been about a week since I last did my video upload, so here I am again. The past week has been relatively uneventful. Working at the bank job full-time now, so hopefully just a couple more months of that, and I should be good to go. And then we are slowly but surely working on the basement bathroom here. We just installed the sink today, so it actually looks pretty good. It's not hooked up to the water lines or the sewage system yet, so it's just for looks for now. But slowly, we're getting there. Today, I thought we would do something we all love to call rental property horror story. And granted, like, the two rental property horror stories I told you before, they were like the creme brulee of horror stories. Like, holy smokes, you can't even make that stuff up. But of course, there's always like shenanigans and things like that that happen in any case that you have like four people that aren't related to one another live under one roof. So I've been hinting in previous vlogs about one particular roommate that has been kind of crazy. And that's Tile Setter Guy. And usually, like, as a rule, I don't like to talk about roommates before they leave the house, but I think he's gonna be here for quite some time. And yeah, so I thought I'd talk about him. So Tile Setter Guy, he moved into the house early November. He was actually the guy that gave me the $50 deposit and never showed up. But then he like gave me a call like 2 weeks later and he had like the full rent. It's like, is the room available? I'm like, oh, okay, sure it is. So he moved into the middle room, and at the time we still had like the crazy couple in the master bedroom, and then we had old man in the end bedroom. And any kind of situation where you have like the new roommates, but you had like the existing ones, the new roommate is always like the really awkward one, right? That's just like, there's always 2 weeks of awkwardness. The couple didn't like him because, like, you know, he's basically self-employed, which is kind of code for unemployed, but I'll get into that later. For one reason or another, couple didn't like him. The old man didn't like him because, again, his like work ethic and like didn't like his attitude and everything. But really, like, he's actually a really good roommate. He's like one of the few people that I'm able to have a conversation with in the house and like express our points of view. And we're like completely opposite, right? Like, he's all about like chicks and like, you know, going and partying and whatever. Just like completely different lifestyles, right? And so we get along pretty well, but he had like basically a low spell, right? He's self-employed. He's actually he lays tile and he does flooring and he does like a lot of construction work, I guess you can say. And so by Christmas time, he didn't really have any work, and he fell behind on his rent. And now, keep in mind that when he fell behind in rent, it wasn't such a big deal because he was actually a pretty good roommate to like live with, unlike the couple. Like, the Mattel couple was fucking insane. So like, you know, I was able to like, okay, don't worry about it, just when you get like employed next. Well, it actually got to the point where it was like 2 weeks late. And it's like, holy man, like, you're really close to like an eviction right now. You need to find some work. You can't just like sit around in the house and do nothing. So my mom and I had this brilliant idea that my mom had to do some tiling in her kitchen. She's updating her kitchen. She's like, oh, well, why don't we just hire him to do the tiling in my kitchen, and then instead of paying him money, I can just pay you for the rent. Like, basically pay him the money who gives it to you. And I'm like, oh, this is brilliant, right? No. It was very, very bad, because this job that basically Tile Setter Guy said he could do in about 3 days took him about a week and a half. Why? Because he doesn't have a driver's license because of like run-ins with the law and things like that. And he doesn't have a car, and he has like no money, so he can't even like get the material and things like that. Like, it was just a big nightmare. And basically what would happen is he would work on my mom's kitchen, and he would run into a snag, he would need like a piece of material, and he would just go home without like telling anyone. So this job that should have taken like 3 days was like a week and a half, and I had to like literally babysit him. Like, I had to be in the basement because like occasionally he'd be like, oh, I don't have like a cutting knife, or I don't have this or whatever, and then we'd have to like borrow my mom's car or whatever to like drive and get all this stuff. So it like took a lot of energy from me. Plus, my mom is one of these people that are like, oh, you do such a great job, it looks so great. And then when they leave, it's like, oh my fucking god. She's one of those people. So, of course, like, my mom's complaining to me. It's all, like, not working out at all. So by the time it's all done, like, I mean, he did a half-decent job. It wasn't that great. But he did it, it was done, it was finished, but I was so pissed off at this point that what I said is like, listen, you got 2 weeks of living at this house and you're gone, because I'm just like so pissed off at this point right now. He was like all freaked out that I was gonna like evict him and everything, right? Because I was like completely serious. I wasn't gonna be like dicking around like the Mattel couple, because with the Mattel couple I was kind of worried whether or not like they would take me to court, whereas like tile setter guy, like, frick, he has no money. So basically, he has never been late with paying rent ever again because of that situation. So that worked out well, but it was like a really bad situation. Then, okay, so this is like part two. What the heck, what happened? So, oh yeah, someone moved out. Oh, the couple moved out, that's right. So the couple moved out, I moved into the master bedroom, and of course we got, like, the new guy in the end room. And shortly thereafter, like, we had some, like, other issues, like, there would be, like, random smells of marijuana in the house, and it's like, gee, I wonder who it is, right? I mean, I don't think it's Talzar guy, because it didn't happen, like, whatever. And so I had, like, issues with that. But then Talzar guy comes up to me, and I'm, like, in my bedroom, and he just, like, walks in, and he's like, I gotta talk to you right now. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know, like, the place started to smell like pots, but I think we got it under control or whatever. And he's like, no, I just, like, did a job, and I got, like, $520, and I'm just gonna give you the whole thing, just figure out how much rent it gets me, because I'm gonna be arrested in 24 hours. And I'm like, what? Apparently, the reason why he moved in with me is because he's been, like, running from the law since, like, July of 2009. And the reason why he moved in with me is because then he didn't have a traceable address. He owes like $7,000 in child support, and the police have been like after him ever since. So now like the police were like interrogating like his girlfriend and everything, were like tracing down where he was. So he's like, oh my god, like, you need to take this money before they, like, take it for, like, the child support. And I'm like, oh, okay. He's, like, freaking out, and he's, like, trying to get the money to me, but, like, he was, like, intervened by the police, like, not at my house, but, like, someplace else. And they, like, took his money. So, like, now he didn't have money for rent, but at least, like, he's not gonna go to fucking prison, right? So, it was like, oh my gosh, like, this crazy roommate that I have that's, like, oh my gosh, insane. So he's still living with me. He's still paying his rent on time, but there's always like some issue that happens. Like right now, like I think he's something else has happened with the child support, and he needs to like pay it by like the middle of the month, or else he like will go to prison or something. But it's just like, oh my gosh, it's insane. But like, truthfully, as a person, he's like really cool. Like, he's a really awesome guy. Like, I've never caught him in a lie, and I think he's just really genuine. But like, holy smokes, how can you have a life like that? That's insane. So yeah, that's like rental property horror story number 3.